Hi guys, welcome back to the session. In the today's session, we are going to learn about UiPath Orchestrator. So let's get started. Now, before trying to find answers on what is UiPath Orchestrator, why UiPath Orchestrator is required, or how to work on UiPath Orchestrator, let's take a step back and let's look into the components of UiPath. So, UiPath has basically three components. First one is UiPath Studio, which is used to design automation project. The second component of UiPath is UiPath Robot, which is used to run automation project. And the third component is UiPath Orchestrator, which is used to manage projects and robots. So let's look into these components which we have installed in our system. So I'm in the UiPath folder where this UiPath tool is installed. Here we have this first component, that is UiPath Studio. If I open this one, so this is the UiPath Studio, which is used to design automation projects, which we have used for designing several automation projects in our previous sessions. Let's open one project from here and let's double click on main. And this is the project. We have designed a project with a message box activity. So we designed this project under this UiPath Studio component of UiPath. Now if I try to run this one, we can start to run this from here. So my UiPath project is running now. It displays the message welcome to UiPath. Now how do you think this UiPath project is running? Well, this is running with the help of the second component of UiPath, which is the UiPath robot, which is present over here named as UiPath.agent.exe file. So let's close this message box and let's move back to the UiPath folder, and here we have this UiPath robot present. So if I open this one, double click over here, so this is the UiPath robot present, which is used to run the UiPath projects. Now let's look into the third component of UiPath, that is UiPath Orchestrator. So this UiPath Orchestrator is a web application. So let's move to Chrome and here let's launch the UiPath Orchestrator. Now to launch the UiPath Orchestrator, we need to navigate to the URL, that is cloud.uipath.com. So here we are in the cloud.uipath.com page, and in the home section we have this orchestrator service. So this is my orchestrator service. So if I click over here, the UiPath orchestrator will be launched. And here comes the UiPath Orchestrator. This is the dashboard, and this is the, there are several components present over here under the monitoring tab, under the automations tab, under actions and the management tab. So what we learned so far for UiPath Orchestrator? So this UiPath Orchestrator is a web application that enables you to arrange UiPath robots to execute repetitive business process, that is to execute the automation project. Now to do so, this orchestrator follows a step-by-step process. So let's look into that step-by-step process. So the first step of the process is to add a machine in UiPath Orchestrator, and the next step is to add a robot in UiPath Orchestrator, and the next step is to create an environment, then to create a process, and then execute the job. So we will look into each of these steps of the UiPath Orchestrator. Let's get started with the machine. So this machine represents a workstation, either physical or virtual, on which UiPath robot is installed, and the machine authorizes the connection between UiPath robot and orchestrator using a machine key. So I will come to this machine key part in few minutes. As of now, let's proceed. So this machine, two types of machines can be created in orchestrator. First one is standard machine and the second is machine template. So let's look into each of these two machines. Let's get started with the standard machine. So this standard machine enables you to connect UiPath Robot and UiPath Orchestrator on a single workstation only. Because of this standard machine can be used when you work on a same workstation every time. For example, workstation with static machine and user combinations, and the persistent VDIs, that is the private workstations where end users use the same workstation day after day. Whereas in machine template, it enables you to connect UiPath Robot and UiPath Orchestrator on multiple workstations. Because of this feature of machine template can be used when you work on multiple workstations. For example, workstation with arbitrary machines and user combinations. Also, machine templates can be used on non-persistent VDIs, that is the public workstations where the end user changes frequently. So let's quickly add a machine in the UiPath Orchestrator. So I will move to UiPath Orchestrator now. So under this UiPath Orchestrator, this is the machines present under the management tab. So if you click on the machines, so this is the machine page. Here we have the option to add machines. So click on the plus, and here we have two options. First is standard machine and the second is machine template. Let's go with the standard machine first. And let's see what all details we need to provide over here to provision a standard machine. So first of all, we need to provide the name, and here it says the machine name has to be the exact match to the name of the workstation the robot is installed on. So my robot, that is the robot UiPath agent.exe, is installed on this system where I'm working currently. So I need to provide the machine name of my workstation. Now there are several ways to provide the machine names. You can get the machine name from this UiPath robot as well. So let's click on settings, orchestrator settings. So from here you will get the machine name. So let's copy this machine name from here and let's paste it over here in the machine of orchestrator. Also you can get the machine name using the command prompt. So let me show you that process as well. So move to command prompt. So let's take the command prompt from here and let's provide the command as host name and press enter. So using this host name command, you will get the machine name. So you can take the machine name from here as well. So we provided the machine name under this standard machine, and next we need to click on provision. So you see this machine got added. And here it says machine created successfully. Now let's look into the another machine, that is machine template. Let's click on machine template and let's see what all details we need to provide here to provision a machine template. So first of all, we need to provide the template name. So this template name needs not to be the machine name because it allows to run the robot on any machine. That's why no specific machine name is required under the machine template. So let's provide any template name. Let's provide the name as my template and let's click on provision. So now that we have added the machine in Orchestrator, let's move ahead. Let's look into the next step. So the next step in the process is to add a robot in Orchestrator. So we learned that this UiPath robot is the execution host that runs the processes built in UiPath Studio. Now there are two types of robot as execution host which can be created. Those are standard robot and the floating robot. So let's look into the standard robot and the floating robot. So the standard robot restricts to use UiPath robot on a single workstation, whereas this floating robot allows to use UiPath robot on multiple workstations. Also, this standard robot, creating a standard robot allows it to work on a single standard machine, whereas creating a floating robot allows to work on any machine, whether the standard machine or the machine template, which we just created. So let's quickly create these robots in Orchestrator for better understanding. So we have this robots present under this management tab. Let's click on robots and let's create a new robot from here. Let's add a robots. For that, click on add, and here we have two options. First is standard robot and the second is the floating robot. Let's go with the standard robot first. And here it says creating a standard robot allows it to work on a single standard machine. So here we need to select a machine which we just created from this machines page. So let's select the machine from here. Let's select from this drop down. This is the machine which we created. Let's add this one. And now let's provide the name of the robot. Let's provide the name of the robot as robot 1. We can give a description over here, and the next option with us is to select the type of the robot. So if I select this drop down here, we have multiple types of robot present which are categorized based on whether they require human intervention or not. So let me show you what is this. So the robots can also be categorized based on whether they require human intervention or not. And on the basis of that, we have two types of robots. First is unattended, that do not require human intervention to execute jobs. And the second one is attended robot, which executes job under human intervention. Now, if I further categorize this unattended robots, if I further categorize this one, so first one under the list is unattended, which runs without human supervision in virtual environment and can automate any number of process. Next one in the list is testing robot, which works in unattended mode for the testing purpose. And the third one is non-production robot, which works in unattended mode for the development purpose. Now, if I further categorize this attended robot is further categorized as first is attended, which works on same workstation as human and is launched as user events. Next one in the list is Studio, which connects Studio to the orchestrator for development purpose. Next one is the Studio X, which connects Studio X to the orchestrator for the development purpose. And the same we have is the Studio Pro, which connects Studio Pro to the orchestrator for development purpose. So now let's select this robot to create one in UiPath Orchestrator. So from these list of robots, we can select any type of robot. Let's select as of now as unattended robot. And the next detail we need to provide is the domain and username. So you need to provide the domain and username over here, which you can find using the command prompt and providing the command as who am I. So if you type the command who am I and press enter, you will get your domain and username from here. So let's copy this entire domain name slash username and let's paste it over here. And next we need to provide the password over here, which is used to log into the workstation. Now it has been observed that if you don't have the password to log into the workstation and you don't provide the password over here, then the orchestrator throws some error. So if you do not have the password to log into the workstation, then please provide some random password over here. So all details has been provided under the standard robot. Let's click on create. So you see this robot has been created under the robots page. Now next you see over here that the status of the robot is disconnected. So we need to connect this robot to the orchestrator. So how to do so? So we can do so with the help of the machine key. So how to get the machine key? We will quickly move to the machines tab again, and this is the standard machine which we have created. This is the standard type of machine. So we are going to copy the machine key from here. So you see it's written over here, copy machine key to clipboard. So let's copy the machine key. So machine key has been copied. Next what we need to do, we need to move to this UiPath robot. Let me show you from beginning. Let's close this UiPath robot. Let's move to the UiPath where the UiPath has been installed. This is the UiPath.agent, which is nothing but the UiPath robot. Let's open this one and let's move to settings again, orchestrator settings. Let's move to this orchestrator as well. And here we need to provide the orchestrator URL. So let's provide the orchestrator URL from here. So let's take the URL till the service name. Let's copy this one and let's paste it over here. And here we need to provide the machine key. So to provide the machine key, you will copy the machine key from here and let's paste it over here and let's click on connect. So here you see the status is connected. So if I move to robots now, here you see the status is available now. Now we can use this robot in the orchestrator. So we are done with this standard robot. We created this standard robot. Next we are going to create the floating robot. So for that, let's click on add again and let's select this floating robot. So here it says creating a new floating robot, and floating robot allows to work on any machine. So we can work on any machine using this floating robot. So let's give a name of the floating robot. Let's give the name as robot 2. And again we can select the robot type from here. These all are the types which are present for the floating robot. Let's take the studio, and again here we need to provide the domain slash username which we have taken from this command who am I. So again you need to provide your domain slash username from here. So let's provide the domain slash username and let's click on create. So we are done with the robots. We have created a standard robot and then we created a floating robot. Now let's move to the next step in the orchestrator. And the next step in the process is to create an environment. So what is this environment? So environment is used for grouping of robots that is used to deploy a process. So let's quickly create an environment to understand this better. So under the robots tab only, we have this robot section on which we created the robot. Then we have this environment section. So this is the environment section. Let's quickly create an environment. So for that, let's click on add and let's provide an environment over here. Let's provide the environment name as test project in prod. This is the environment name which I have provided. Let's click on create. And from here we need to select the robot which we wish to add under the environment. So let's go with this standard robot. This is the robot which we just created and let's click on update. So you see this environment got created. Now the next step in the process is to create a process. Now what is this process? So the process represents the association between an environment and a package. So we already created an environment. Now what is this package? So the package page contains the projects which are published from the UiPath Studio or uploaded manually to the orchestrator. So let's quickly publish a project from UiPath Studio to Orchestrator to see how this package works. And here I am in the UiPath Studio. Let's publish this project with a message box and make sure that when you are publishing a project from Studio to the Orchestrator, make sure that robot is always connected. Make sure that the status is connected. So to publish this one, we'll move to publish. And here it says the package name is demo project. This is the current version and this is the new version. Let's click on next. And we want to publish to orchestrator tenant. So we have two options over here. We'll go with the orchestrator. Let's click on next. So we don't require to provide these details. Let's click on publish. So here it says project published successfully and the version is 1.0.1. So let's click on OK. Let's move to Orchestrator to see whether the project is available here or not. That will be available under this package section. So let's click on this. And here you see the demo project which we just published. It is published a few seconds ago, is present under this package section. So what we did, we published a project from this UiPath Studio to this UiPath Orchestrator, and that project is available under this package section. Now, if you do not get your project listed over here when you published, you can refresh from here. so that the page gets loaded and your project comes over here. Now we can also upload the projects manually over here. So to upload the projects manually, what we can do, we'll click on this upload icon. Let's click on upload. Let's click on browse. And from this path, that is C program data, UiPath and package, we can upload the packages from here as well. So let's click on cancel as of now. Let's click on cancel. So we learned how we can publish a project from UiPath Studio to Orchestrator, or how we can upload the packages manually. All those will be present inside the package section. Now once we get the packages present over here, we need to create a process. So how to do that? We'll move to this automations tab. Under the automations there is a process tab. So let's click over here, and from here we need to create a process. So for that we'll click on this plus, and from here we need to select the package name. So from this drop down, let's select the package name. So we have uploaded this demo project just now, so let's select this demo project. It already selected the package version, that is 1.0.1, and from here we can select the environment. So let's select this environment, that is test project underscore prod, which we just created. We can select the job priority from here, whether high, normal or low. Let's go with the normal, and we can provide a description over here. So what this process is doing, it is doing an association between this package and the environment. Let's create this process. Let's create this process from here. So you see this process has been created. Now let's move ahead, and the next step in our list is to create a job, and the job represents the execution of a process on UiPath Robot. So let's quickly create a job in Orchestrator to execute our process. Now to start a job, what we need to do, we'll move to monitoring jobs, and from here we are going to start a job. So let's click on start, and from here we need to select a process. So this is the process which we just created, that is demo project, test project, prod. Let's select this process, and let's select the robot from here, and let's click on start. So you see the status is in pending, and the project got executed from the orchestrator. Here we have the message welcome to UiPath. So what we did the execution of this automation project which we created under the UiPath Studio from this orchestrator. So let's click on OK. And here you see the state is successful now. So in this way we created a process in Orchestrator to execute the automation project using UiPath robots. First of all, we added a machine, then we added a robot, then we created an environment. We also published a project from UiPath Studio to Orchestrator for execution. Then we created a process, and at the end we run the job. Now let's look into the version management. What is this version management? So let's say that this is the project we published in the orchestrator and it ran successfully. Now let's say that after a few days this project has been modified. Let's modify this project. Let's add one more message box over here. Let's give some message over here. Hello there. Let's give a message over here. So now this project has been modified. So what we need to do now to execute this modified project from the orchestrator, we will save this one, and then we will publish this project again and make sure that the robot is connected, and we'll click on this publish. So here it says the current version is 1.0.1 and the published version which we are going to publish now, the new version is 1.0.2. Let's click on next and let's publish. And here it says project published successfully and the new version is 1.0.2. Let's click on OK and move back to Orchestrator, and we'll move to process. Let's move to process. And here you see there is a download symbol present which says updates are available. Why it says updates are available? Because we modified this process, we modified this project and published it again to Orchestrator. So if I click on this dots and click on view process, here you see two versions of the project are present, that is 1.0.1 is the current one and this is the version which we just published. So here there is a download option present which can be used to download the new version. So let's click on download and it is asking, are you sure you want to update? So yes, I want to update. Let's click on yes. So now 1.0.2 is selected as the current one. Now if I run the job again, then the updated project will run. This is the updated project. So if I close this one and if I run this job again, let's move to jobs and let's start. Let's select this process. Let's select the robot and let's click on start. So the status is running. And here it says the first message box, that is welcome to UiPath. Let's press OK. And here the next message box is present, that is the message box which we updated in the UiPath Studio. So let's press OK and the status is successful now. So in this way we can update the project. In this way we can do the version management. Let's move to process again. And if I move to view process, so here this current version is present as 1.0.2. Let's say that you want to move back to the previous version, that is 1.0.1. How you can do that? You will simply click on roll back. And are you sure you want to update this one? So yes, I want to update. And now the current package that is selected is of version 1.0.1. So in this way you can do the version management for your project according to the requirement. So let's click on close. So in this way you can work on the UiPath Orchestrator to manage your robots and the automation projects which you create. In the next session, we are going to look into some other features of Orchestrator. So that's all for this session, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, give it a like and share with your friends and hit the bell button to get the updates on the latest videos. And I will see you soon in the next one. Bye bye.